AITA for refusing to give up my seats and being crass about it? I, 36F, flew home for Thanksgiving this week and got an early flight this morning so I would be able to do laundry tomorrow and relax before going back to work. I am a plus-size woman. The cause was finally diagnosed after 3 years of weight gain. I've lost 4 pounds in the last 4 weeks. So when I booked my flights, I spent extra money and booked 2 adjacent seats so whoever had the third seat in my row would not have to be squished up in my business. Flying out was great. The other person in my row was cool and we shared the middle seat and snacks and played Pokemon on our Switches and visited each other's Animal Crossing islands. Flying home was where things became a bit more problematic. I was settled into my pair of seats, and a gentleman tried to sit his daughter, 12, not a waif, nor was her overweight dad, in my middle seat, where my bum is taking up a good third of the middle seat. I said politely, "I'm sorry. That seat is booked. Your daughter can't sit there," while putting my hand on the other 2/3 of the seat. He immediately complained that he hadn't been able to book seats together and he needed to sit with his daughter. I shrugged and said I was sorry, but it wasn't my problem. That wasn't his seat. He called over a stewardess to complain. I explained my situation and showed my pair of tickets, and the flight attendant offered to comp my extra seat. I said no thank you. I needed the extra room and waved to where my bum was partway into the middle seat. The stewardess came back 10 minutes later with a wife from a couple who agreed to switch seats so the man could sit with his daughter, but not without attempting to shame me for not be willing to help out a dad in need and commenting about how selfish I was. I said, I booked early, and I booked 2 seats together because, to put it plainly, I'm fat. His 2 seats were separate seats. How exactly do you propose I split my fat ass in half to sit one half in one seat and the other half in his other seat? Quote, the woman turned red in the face and bitched at me for being disgusting. I replied that his lack of planning was not my emergency, and she scowled at me for the entire rest of the flight. When I told my folks about it after I landed, my dad thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard, but my mom yelled at him for encouraging him and said I should have been more willing to help out a dad with a kid when I had 2 seats. So I want to know, AITA? NTA. These airplane issues are getting out of hand. It's very simple. You book a seat. You are entitled to it. People can ask you to change, but if you say no, that's it. End of story. I don't understand why people find this basic rule so hard to comprehend. NTA. You pay for 2 seats, you get 2 seats. NTA. You paid for an extra seat. He didn't book 2 together. I'm sorry they shamed you for that, but it's not your problem and not your fault. NTA. First of all, congrats on the diagnosis and the weight loss. That must be such an unbelievable relief to have answers and finally see some progress after struggling for 3 years. Second of all, you planned ahead. And while it isn't always possible for everyone to do, such as last-minute changes at work, you put forth the effort so that you would not be an inconvenience to anyone else due to your current body type, and you spend a lot of extra money to do so. I'm sure several $100s overall. He asked. And even though you were offered reimbursement, you declined, as is your right. And it sounds as though he would have been just as happy to take your extra seat without asking, and without the flight seeing you reimbursed if you hadn't had the courage to speak up for yourself. Congrats on standing up for yourself and taking care of your needs. Her lack of planning was not my emergency. Couldn't have said it better myself. NTA op. NTA. You paid good money for that seat, so it's yours. She should sit in the seat that was bought for her. I am obese and so are my parents. When I was a kid they always used to sit me in the middle seat and I hated it because I was always squished and it was so uncomfortable. To this day I hate being in window or middle seats because of it. Good on you for booking an extra seat both for yours and the other person's comfort. I wish you good luck in your health journey. You. NTA. You started politely assertive. He escalated it, and didn't plan ahead or pay for the seating he desired. Unlike you. Who did? NTA. You took the time, effort and dollar to make sure you had what you needed way ahead of time. That seat was taken. I get why a father would want to sit with their kid. It would be okay to ask, but no, I booked this seat, should have been the end of it. If people had respected you from the get-go there wouldn't have been a need to be so blunt, but they didn't. Your funny AF explanation shut down any other argument. NTA. You were considerate to others around you and paid the extra for their comfort as much as your own. Sorry, but his 12-yo doesn't get to sit and then make you feel uncomfortable when you paid for that space. Was it the air hostess that was rude? Or the lady who swapped? I would complain to the airline for the pressure you were put under. It's not fair. Well done on weight loss so far. NTA. In the WHOOLE plane, there wasn't a single other person willing to swap seats? I'd have been tempted to let her sit there and just squish her personally. And she's 12-ish? I bet she'd have been happy to sit away from Dad and text her friends and not have him looking over her shoulder. Congrats on the weight loss. NTA. If the family had actually planned ahead as much as you did, they would have been able to book 2 seats next to one another. NTA. You did everything you needed to do properly. Both the father and the stewardess can ask. But once you denied, as is your right, that should have been the end of it. Maybe the father should have booked earlier instead of blaming you for his failure to do so. Maybe the stewardess should have treated you with the same consideration she did the father. Nope. NTA. In zero way were you in the wrong. Besides that, it's a small space. You don't need to sit next to anyone on the plane. Being in a different row from a relative isn't going to make any difference. NTA. I don't understand how you were shamed for paying for 2 seats to make yourself and your fellow passengers more comfortable. It seems like you can't win for losing. I'm sure someone would have been annoyed if you were taking up a portion of their seat, which you actively made sure to not do. People are entitled and ridiculous. If someone cares that much about sitting next to their child, they should have thought through things ahead of time. Ha ha ha. Great response. I'm sorry you had to deal with those ahs. But good for you for how you handled yourself. I would have loved to share an aisle with you so we could play Pokemon and chat. FYI, you're totally NTA. Like, at all. Don't give it a second thought and continue being awesome. NTA. Those 2 seats were yours and paid for. Not your problem. Wow, Jesus. Totally NTA. To be honest, you did something rather kind in my mind by booking 2 seats in the first place. The fact the stewardess had the nerve to address it this way is mind-blowing. Not only NTA, but I'd write the company, post it on social media. NTA. There was an entire plane load of people who could have offered to switch seats to help out the dad. Why are you the one being shamed? NTA. Like you said, what are you supposed to do? You need and purchased 2 seats. NTA. I like your style. And you're 100% right, his lack of planning is not your emergency.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.